I just picked up some stuff that I was like, well, we better at least take a look at this stuff before we get into it. This one's more about the equation of the line. Y equals mx plus b. In fact, maybe this one should have gone before yesterday's lesson. I'm not sure, but it works good here. Slope y-intercept form. What we like and why y equals mx plus b is important is that if we have an equation with y isolated on the left side, we can easily pick off what the slope is and what the y-intercept is. And that really helps us for graphing, if we can pick those two things off. Today we're going to do the reverse. We're going to be given information, and we've got to figure out what the slope and y-intercept is and build the equation. Sounds pretty straightforward. It is. It often can be really straightforward to do this. But there's a couple of quirky ones, a couple of sort of difficult ones. So anyways, here's the steps. If you're wondering, and you need to look back, to find the equation of a line, determine the slope of the line using the formula. And I'm going to put, you should put, a question mark at the end, because maybe you won't have to do that step. There's easy questions where you don't have to find the slope of the line. It's already given, or you already know it. Determine the y-intercept of the line by substituting the coordinates in. Ooh, this can be difficult. So I'll put just not a smiley face, not a sad face, just a straight line face going, that might be a little difficult. But I've got a dramatic way to present it, hopefully. If you don't remember this at all, hopefully I'm going to explain it in such a way like, I think I'll remember that forever now. I'm going to do something silly, okay? And then state the equation at the end. Well, of course, that's what our job is, just to state the equation at the end. So let's do a couple. They get progressively harder as we go. So if you think this is easy, just buckle up. These ones are designed, how many? I think there's 6 examples, is there? The last one's designed to just make you think a little bit. Listen, friends, your notes don't have little graph papers there. I just put that off to the side because I want each time to look at this and go, does the graph help? Does thinking about the graph help with each question? So if something gets difficult, maybe put it on the graph, and then it will become less difficult. It says find the equation that has slope -4 and y-intercept 5. If this confuses you because you think it's too easy, sometimes this life is really easy here. So what I do on these is I write down y equals mx plus b. That's what I suggest is the first step. As soon as it says find the equation of the line, I don't even read the rest of the question. I just write down y equals mx plus b and go, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. Now, then I look and I go, did they give me any of this stuff? Did they give me the slope? They did give me the slope. See, it's a very easy question if that's the way you look at it. If you just look and go, I'm looking for the slope. Oh, so I just put the slope right there. Good. Next. What other information did they give me? The y-intercept. Do you see why this question, if you're sort of good at these, is completely ridiculously easy? You're just filling them in. It's more like asking, do you know what y equals mx plus b is? Do you know where to put the numbers? And you go, yeah, I know where to put them. There. And if you didn't coming in today, I hope I explained it in such a way that you go, oh, I get that now. All y equals mx plus b is a roadmap to where you put the slope and the y-intercept in the equation. Do you have any questions about that? If you had to graph it then, you'd put the y-intercept up at 5, and you'd go down 4/1 a couple of times. Hopefully you did that in your homework a few times. And if you're a little behind, well, this is the great thing about math and weekends, yes? Just when you feel like you're falling behind in math, the weekend comes and you go, okay, take the weekend, get things caught back up again, and I'll be ready for Monday. How many do I got to do? 6 total examples? Progressively harder each time. Hopefully you're thinking, they better get progressively harder, because if I came in today for this, you're wasting my time. Yeah, pretty straightforward example. Next one. State the equation of the line with slope 1/2 and passes through this point. Okay, this is the one. Get ready. Buckle in for this one for a, hopefully, great explanation to help. You video people aren't going to get all the fun that I'm going to do here. I say, when they say find the equation of the line, stop reading the question, write down y equals mx plus b so you know what you're trying to accomplish here. I got to find out the slope, and I got to find out the y-intercept. I'm going to change my phrasing a little bit. Then you look at the question, you go, did they give me either of these? Do I get a freebie out of this? Is there a freebie? Yeah, there is a freebie. They gave me the slope. Reminds me of Wheel of Fortune. Anybody watch Wheel of Fortune? On that final puzzle, you get a bunch of freebies. They give you a bunch of letters right off the hop. to start with. Here I've got a freebie. The slope is 1/2. But then you get stressed because a lot of people make a mistake here and they just plug this number in as the y-intercept. And this is not the y-intercept. That is the number one mistake in these questions. Do you see negative 6.5? If I just put on the graph there, that's clearly not the y-intercept. Now let me give you some wisdom about equation solving that's going to serve you well all through the grades. If you've got an equation that has 3 different unknowns, the only way to solve for b is to know the x and y. That will be true forever. I don't have any better math than that. Your whole life, if you've got an equation with 3 unknowns, you better find a way to get 2 of them if you're going to find the third one. Yes? So this question says, if you want b, you need an x and y. If only I had an x and y I could use. And for those of you watching the video, I'm standing on a stupid chair here, staring at this point, negative 6.5. Can anyone think of an x and a y I might be able to use? Brilliant! This is an x and y pair. So I could sub that in and do a little bit of moving around to figure out what b is the right b. Now, if I fell off the chair, would you laugh or would you go, You should laugh. If I fall down, I grant you friendship with me where you can laugh. I'm going to write a fancy sentence that you should write here. Not because maybe you think this is easy, but this is the kind of sentence we're going to need moving forward as the math gets harder in future grades. Sub in x equals negative 6, y equals 5. Okay? You're just going to have to trust me that that is a great sentence to write on your page. It's going to help you in future questions, in future grades. So then where I see y, I don't write y, I write 5. Where I see 1/2, I don't write 1/2. Or sorry, when I see x, I don't write x, I write negative 6. And this is a completely different equation than the one above. The one above is like, y equals 1/2 x plus b, how am I supposed to get b? This equation is like, I can get b. It's almost free to get this b. It's a freebie. Now listen, friends, I can do your silly steps to do this fraction question, but let's not give fractions too much credit. What's half of 6? 3. All right, so there's some times in math where I don't need all the crazy fraction steps to find half of 6. I'll show them, but be on the lookout for them. Be aware, we don't always need all the steps. What are the steps? Give this a denominator of 1. Numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator, and then negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. And then I'm going to bring that negative 3 over. Instead of being subtract 3 over there, it's going to be add 3 over here, and I've solved for the b. The way I've done that is very upsetting to some people. All you rule followers out there. Your teacher said, isolate the variable on the left-hand side. I'm here to tell you it's okay to isolate on the right-hand side. We were just making some rules to help you learn about this stuff. And in the case of y equals mx plus b, I personally find isolating b on the right side is actually a little easier than isolating on the left side because it's already on the right side. But you do what you want. Final statement, therefore, y equals 1/2 x plus 8. Does that example ring a bell from grade 9? Like, as I'm doing it, you're like, I kind of remember this now. If not, I try to teach it in such a way that you're like, oh, well, okay, I can do that. Yeah. And there's some nice homework questions to try. Any questions? What about the graph paper, Ms. Todd? Okay, so I had the point negative 6.5, and the slope's 1, 2. Watch this. Rise 1, run 2. Where is it? Negative 6, comma 5. Let me just sub these in here for a second. 8, slope 2, run 2, rise 1, run 2, rise 1, run 2, rise 1. Y-intercept 8. I'm just going to do them with graph. Isn't that easier? It can be. Graphing can be way easier. What kind of numbers, just to circle back to that, what kind of numbers aren't great on graphs? Decimals and large numbers. But when they're small numbers and you're doing your quiz or test, get a piece of graph paper and go, let me just double check this to make sure I got it right. Yeah, when they're reasonable numbers, that's a very good method. Yeah. All right, I'll start cruising along a little bit here. Find the equation through these 2 points. I still say write down y equals mx plus b. And then check to see if they give you anything for free. Did they give me the slope? No. Did they give me the y-intercept? No. Neither of these are the y-intercept. And you could graph them to be sure. You go, oh, that's 2, 6. That's negative 1, 7. Neither of those is the y-intercept. It's worse. If I graph this line, the y-intercept would be in between or something. Ay, not a great graphing question. So what are we going to do? Your Valentine. Yes, here's your Valentine. You don't need to be lonely on Valentine's Day. You've got this. Your very best friend. And so you label these. If you didn't do your homework, you label these. This is the first point, so that's x1 and y1. This is the second point, x2, y2. If you label them the other way around, you'll get the same answer. The signs will just have changed from the top to the bottom, that's all. Doesn't change the results. And so now I'll do this slope for you. 7 minus 6 over negative 1 minus 2 equals 1 over negative 3. Negative 1/3 is the slope. I could have got that from the graph. Yeah, but only because they were friendly numbers. It's only negative because this said subtract. The 2 is positive, but I'm subtracting it. Great question. She said, why is that negative 2? I say, no, it's not. It's subtract 2 because the formula said to subtract 2. So now I'm here. Y equals negative 1/3 x plus b. Now what? I've got the m, but not the b.
You can use switch out the slope and take away the 2 points.
And either point should give the same answer, or else math is broken. So you can choose which point you like better. I think the 2, 6 is a little better because they're both positive numbers, but you can choose for yourself. So I'm going to write this fancy sentence that I encourage you to write. Sub in x equals 2, y equals 6. Now, this one is not a friendly fraction question. The previous one was, but this is not friendly fractions. And so when the not friendly fractions are, let's give them a test drive. Not friendly fractions are going to come up, so let's take it around at them. Put the 2 over 1. So I get 6 equals negative 2 over 3 plus b, and bring the 2/3 over. Most people will get that far pretty easily. But 6 plus 2/3, well, 6 plus 2/3 is 6 2/3. Yeah? Another situation that your fraction algorithms sometimes make things look harder than they are. But if you wanted to do the fraction algorithm, here's what you'd do. You'd put the 6 over 1. Then you'd get a common denominator, 18 over 3 plus 2 over 3. And you'd get 20 over 3, which if I turn that into a mixed number becomes 6 2/3. But do you see how maybe I didn't need all that? You know, it's easy to get addicted to the algorithms and miss the forest for the trees. 6 plus 2/3 is 6 2/3. Yeah? All right. So then I get y equals negative 1/3 x plus 6 2/3. Am I here to torture you with fractions all semester long? No. I'm here to remind you about fractions once in a while. So once in a while in the homework, I'll be like, hey, let's try it with some fractions and see how we do. If your fractions aren't so good, don't worry. The textbook I'm going to give you very soon has some fraction review in the back, and you can brush up on your fractions and get them up to speed. Or If they've never been up to speed, we can work on them a little bit, okay? See why that would be difficult with graphing? 6 2/3. I never would have got that off the graph. I would estimate it, but I never would have known it was 6 2/3 exactly. But what questions do you have about that? What's that? Here? 6 plus 2/3. Could you jump from here to here? Yeah. In most cases, yeah. A whole number plus a fraction. Oftentimes, I don't need all those algorithms. We probably tortured you with them in grade 7, 8, 9, so that you were ready when you did have to use the algorithm. But a whole number plus a fraction oftentimes is a pretty easy question, actually. Yeah? You got questions? I got to get rolling. I promised myself I'd be done by 1:45. So we're ending at 1:45, no matter where I'm at, and I'll finish the other ones off on Monday if I have to. 4. This is a super easy question. We need someone clever, not me. Mr. Todd show's over. We need somebody to just look at this question and give the answer. And then we'll talk about it. If they went too fast for you, then we'll talk about it really quick. But please tell me there's somebody out there who can just come up with my equation of a line, just snap their fingers, bang, done.
Is it y is equal to 3x minus 6?
It is. So the last question was there to go, sometimes equation of line questions are difficult. Sometimes they're not. This one's not difficult because it said parallel to this one. So there's my m, because it's got to have the same slope as that one. Then it said same y-intercept as this one. There's my b, question over. So that's difficult in math sometimes. Sometimes you're expecting something difficult, and when it's easy, it scares you because you're like, it was too easy. And then sometimes you think something's easy, and it's not. It's hard, so that starts here. But do you have any questions about that? The only thing that I did there is I circled the two of them and said, that's the m, that's the v. It's done. Yeah, pretty nice. 2 more to go. Well, actually, 1 more to go. I'm going to leave the last one as a challenge question. Last one to just go home and go, whoa, what am I going to do here? You're going to think about it. All right? Do you need more time here? Find the equation that's perpendicular to this with the same y-intercept as this. Also possible that somebody can just jump in and give the answer. If they do, if we find somebody that can do it, then I'll back up and explain. Peter.
Is it negative 1 over 4x?
Yes, negative 1 over 4x, that's correct.
Plus 9.
Plus 9, that is so correct. So again, just a reminder, these questions do not have to be crazy difficult because sometimes all the information is lying there. So y-intercept was right there. That was just as easy as the other one, but he did something that maybe is a little bit difficult. This is not the slope I wanted. That was 4. So what did he do to make it into negative 1 over 4? He did the negative reciprocal. So he said the slope here is 4 over 1. So the slope I want, and here's a fancy symbol you can use, a little upside down T, which is showing 2 perpendicular lines, negative reciprocal. Then he was home free. Is that okay? We're going to go farther with this in chapter 2. We're going to pick it up here and go on. But just a little tiny bit of review of that from grade 9. But just in case you're out there bored and you're like, these are so easy. I put 1 in there and I'll just put a star beside it and go, well, why don't you give that one a spin if you're looking for a little challenge? You can text or email me the answer, or we can take it up on Monday, whatever you like. There is, I think, one in the homework like this. It's like, huh? Oh, you think you're good, huh? Here, try this one. And it's not that bad. Give it a try and see what you come up with. Is that the last one in your thing? Beautiful.